Strange but true stories, tales from the light side, the dark side, and the other side. I'm Steve White. Back in July, we released a video titled The Entity and the Hunter. The story centered on a group of friends dealing with an evil entity in their St. Louis home. A series of I know a guy who knows a guy who knows this guy led to the man they identified as Hunter coming to the house and, in total badass fashion, sending the demonic entity back to wherever it came from. We were given 2 pieces of identifying information about the man called Hunter, his real name and a distinctive feature, that we were asked to withhold to help identify him should somebody else come forward with a story of their own. And somebody did. Here now, the Hunter on Zombie Road. Every year in St. Louis, there is a gathering at Tower Grove Park called the Pagan Picnic. Hundreds, if not thousands, come from all around the United States to this gathering of alternative religious and spiritual people. Normally, this is not my kind of thing, but Donna, a friend from work, asked me to go with her, so I figured, why not? The first day was great. Good food, lots of really nice and welcoming people. It was honestly pretty fun. We got invited to a number of after parties, but we turned them down. I'm not real big on partying with people I don't know. So I dropped Donna off at her apartment in Soulard, and I headed home to my apartment in South County. I had trouble sleeping that night, mostly because I kept thinking about how amazing the day was and looking forward to going back the following day. The next day was even more fun than the previous. We met up with a group of people that were into ghost hunting, and they asked us to join them later that night. They were going to a place called Zombie Road. Seriously, how could I pass that up? Looking back, I wish I had. Now, Zombie Road has a number of rumors about it, from satanic cults to the ghosts of children, even a ghost train. Now it's a paved bike path and hiking trail monitored by police at night, but at that time, it was open to anyone who dared to wander out there. That night, we all met at Steak and Shake on Lindbergh and LeMay Ferry, right next to South County Mall. It was about 1 a.m., and we all decided to grab something to eat. As we were approaching the doors, a tall, skinny guy with long hair was tossing some vampire-looking guy out of the restaurant. The whole time, some girl was screaming at him and pounding the tall guy on the back. The tall guy said, "This place is off limits." Then, oddly, he raised his shirt while facing the goth-looking guy, and the guy and his girl looked really scared. They took off running, like they'd seen a ghost. What might have been disconcerting to some didn't bother this group one bit. We asked if the place was still open. The guy turned around and said, "Yeah, sorry about that. Some people just don't know how to act in public. Come on in." We all sat at the counter, and we heard the manager tell the tall guy he could go ahead and go home. He said, "Nah, not yet. These are my people. I'll take care of them, then head out." Turns out the group knew this guy. His name was Hunter. He took our orders, cooked our food, and filled our drinks. He asked what we were up to. Anna, one of the girls in the group, told him we were headed to Zombie Road. He said, "Sure you want to go out there? It's going to be crazy with the picnic going on. Lots of wild energies out there tonight. Let me tell you something, and I am not joking when I say this. You need to avoid Zombie Road, tonight especially." Darren, a guy from the group, said, "It'll be all right. We're just going out there to have a little fun." Since everyone was conversing and whatnot, I thought I'd ask what was up with the guy he threw out. "Oh, Franco? He's just a local night crawler. Likes to frequent all kinds of night places, looking for people to mess with. Tonight, he just picked the wrong place." I wasn't going to ask, but Donna just couldn't help herself. "So, why did they run off all scared when you lifted your shirt?" Now, it was the damnedest thing. I was surely expecting him to ignore the question or give some lame excuse. He turned around, looked her dead in the eye, and said, "I am the chosen one of an ancient bloodline that defends humanity from the evils of the world. That man was a true vampire, and I revealed to him that I am of that ancient bloodline. He starts to chuckle. Or it could have been these. He lifts his shirt slightly, revealing 2 daggers tucked under his belt, one silver and one gold. We all had a good laugh about that, although a little bit of a nervous laugh, to be honest. Like, is this guy for real? After the meal, we headed out for Zombie Road. It took us about 20 minutes to get there. We had to pull off to the side of the road and park our vehicles out of view of the main road. The moon was full and bright, which lit the overgrown road brightly. The light still did not take away from the eerie feeling of dread that filled the air. I told Donna to stay close to me, just in case. We began walking, and it wasn't long before we began hearing movement in the vegetation on either side of the road. We just passed it off as squirrels or even deer. Then it really started to get strange. We'd been walking for maybe 10 minutes or so when we began to hear giggling coming from the trees. We figured it was just some locals trying to mess with us. Everyone broke out flashlights and began shining them into the woods, but we didn't see anything. We discussed it for a few minutes and decided to keep going. Darren said there were these weird little railroad tracks about another 3/4 of a mile up the road, and that's where we would stop and turn back. We didn't make it that far, though. We started seeing shadows dart back and forth across the road, both in front of us and behind. Then came a deep growling from down the path in front of us. We had no weapons and no clue what to do. Then we got a glimpse of the source of the growl. A large, and by large I mean 7, 8 feet tall, shadowy creature. Then as we were facing the creature, which was about 30 to 40 feet in front of us, I happened to look down and notice there was one additional shadow. I turned around, and there was the man called Hunter, standing there. He told us all to head back to our cars. As we all stopped to look at each other, he screamed, "Now!" We all ran back to our vehicles and peeled out. We didn't stop until we reached White Castle, about 2 blocks south of the Steak and Shake we had been at earlier. I hadn't smoked in 3 years, but I bummed a cigarette from Donna, and I'm not gonna lie, still smoke to this day. We all sat there for about an hour. Then this car pulls up, and Hunter gets out. Some girl was driving. His shirt had a big rip in it, and he was covered in scratches and dirt. He walked up to Darren and punched him in the face. "Next time I tell you to avoid a place, you avoid it." Then he got in the car, and they drove off. I told Donna to get in the car, and she crashed at my house. Hunter continued to work at that Steak and Shake for a few months. I'd pop in every now and then. We'd nod, speak casually. One night, when he was working a shift by himself, I stopped him, and I thanked him for the help that night. He said it was nothing. It's what he does. He said he'd be leaving soon and to stay safe. Then he asked me to do him a favor. I told him anything I could do, I would. He asked me to never mention his name when I tell this story. He said it was my story to tell and that he would never try to deny me that, but to please never mention his name. He said he was about to step away from that life and that he had made many enemies. The less his name got around, the better it would be for him. He said he needed to find something he lost a long time ago. We continued to walk for a while, then I headed home. That night was the last night I saw him. As for Donna, we started dating about 2 weeks after Zombie Road. A month after that, she moved in. Our oldest daughter just left for the University of Arizona. Nothing like that night ever happened to me again. My daughter, however, has some friends that live in the same old apartments that I used to. They claim to see and hear all kinds of things around there at night, even saying they've seen red eyes looking up at them from sewer grates. So, hey, Hunter, if you're ever around, you know where to find me. I think I at least owe you a drink. This has been another strange but true story. What? Demon hunters can't flip burgers for a living? not all superhumans are independently wealthy, and vanquishing dark entities back to the netherworld doesn't exactly pay the rent. How about you? Have you ever encountered the man called Hunter? Did you live in the St. Louis area at the turn of the 21st century and come into contact with this dude? Send us an email giving us the 2 identifying pieces of information to strangebutTrueStories2@gmail.com, and we may use your story as a follow-up in what we hope will be a continuing series of stories. Let us know what you thought of this story in the comments below, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks to those who have. It is greatly appreciated. I'm Steve White. Thanks for watching. Until next time.